There is a skull sitting in a museum in Georgia that is 1.8 million years old. The person it belonged to had lost every single one of their teeth years before they died. No teeth means you cannot chew raw meat. You cannot crack open bones. You cannot process almost any food that exists in the wild. And yet, this person survived. For years. The question nobody asked for a long time was how. The answer changes everything we think we know about what made us human. Around 2 million years ago, your ancestors looked different in a way that should bother you. Their jaws were massive. Their skulls were thick and heavy, built to anchor the kind of chewing muscles you'd need to grind through raw tubers, unprocessed seeds, and uncooked meat for hours every single day. Their brains were small. Their guts were enormous, coiled and stretched to extract every calorie possible from food that gave almost nothing back. Then something changed. Around 1.8 million years ago, a new version of us appeared in the fossil record. Homo erectus. The jaw shrank, the skull lightened, the gut contracted, the brain expanded by nearly 50%. Anthropologists called it one of the most significant transitions in human evolutionary history. What they could not agree on was what caused it. Then a Harvard primatologist named Richard Wrangham sat down in the 1990s and asked a question so obvious it embarrassed the field. What if they started cooking? His argument was this: raw food is calorie-dense on paper, but calorie-poor in practice. When you eat a raw potato, your body extracts about 35% of its available calories. Cook it, and that number jumps to nearly 100. Raw meat is the same. Heat unravels the protein structure, so your digestive system absorbs far more with far less work. Wrangham calculated that cooking effectively doubled the caloric return from the same amount of food. And doubled calories meant something specific. The human brain consumes roughly 20% of your total caloric intake, while representing only 2% of your body weight. For millions of years, that bill was too high. A bigger brain would have starved your ancestors before it could help them. But cooking changed the math. Suddenly, there were surplus calories, and evolution, over hundreds of thousands of years, spent them on the one organ that would eventually take over the planet. The gut shrank because it no longer needed to be enormous. Digesting raw food is physical labor. In modern humans, the digestive tract is dramatically shorter than in other great apes relative to body size. Chimps and gorillas have guts built for raw food. We don't. And the fossil record shows the gut contracting at almost exactly the same time the brain was expanding. Energy that had been running the digestion engine got redirected upward. But here is what nobody puts together. Cooking didn't just change our bodies. It changed our entire relationship with time. A chimpanzee spends between 6 and 8 hours every single day chewing. Not eating, chewing. Raw food requires that much mechanical processing. When you cook food, that number drops to about 1 hour. You freed up 5 to 7 hours of your daily existence. 5 to 7 hours that your ancestors suddenly had with nothing to fill them. And here is what they did with it. They talked. They planned. They told stories around the fire that cooked the food. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups have documented that nighttime fire conversations are almost entirely social and narrative. During the day, 80% of talk is practical. At night, around fire, 80% is stories, myths, jokes, explanations of the world. Cooking didn't just feed the brain, it gave the brain something to do. Now here is where it gets complicated. The oldest confirmed evidence of controlled fire is from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, roughly 1 million years ago. But Homo erectus appeared 1.8 million years ago. The anatomy changed 800,000 years before the earliest confirmed campfire, which means either we are missing earlier evidence or something happened in between that we still don't understand. Wrangham argues for the earlier date. Other researchers push back. The debate is still open. But here is the thing that cuts through it. Whether cooking began 1 million years ago or 1.8 million, the result is the same. At some point, a group of human ancestors discovered that putting food near flame made it easier to eat and more satisfying. And that discovery spread. It became universal. Today, there is not a single human culture on Earth that eats an entirely raw diet by tradition. Every culture that has ever been studied cooks. Fire and food are the one constant across every human civilization that has ever existed. That is not a coincidence. That is biology. When Wrangham looked at modern raw food dieters in Germany, 50% of the women had stopped menstruating entirely. Not occasionally, entirely. Their bodies, running on uncooked calories, did not have enough surplus energy to support reproduction. They were eating. They were not starving by any conventional measure. But without cooked calories, their systems read the situation as scarcity and shut down the most expensive biological process a human body runs. Reproduction itself depends on cooked food. Evolution built us around the assumption that we cook, and then removed our ability to function properly without it. Now, go back to that skull in Georgia. The person it belonged to couldn't chew. But if the food around them was being cooked, that changes everything. Cooked food is soft. Cooked tubers mash. Cooked meat falls apart. You don't need teeth for that. You need fire. And you need to be part of a group that doesn't let you starve when your body fails. That skull isn't just evidence of cooking. It's evidence of care. Someone kept this person alive for years after they lost the ability every other animal needs to eat. The only way that makes sense is if the food required almost no chewing at all. Cooking didn't just make us smarter, it made us the kind of species that keeps people alive after they stop being useful. Every night around a fire, every meal prepared for someone who couldn't prepare it themselves, every hour freed from chewing that went into conversation instead. You didn't choose to cook. You were built for it. The body you're walking around in right now, the brain running behind your eyes, the gut that fits where it fits, the jaw that's the size it is, all of it was shaped by millions of years of fire. Every meal you have ever eaten in your life has been cooked. Not because it tastes better, because you are not capable, in the deepest biological sense, of being fully human without it. The species that cooked survived. Every species that didn't is gone.